If you're new here, hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss our lessons on building real wealth. Let's get started. You know, most people think investing is complicated. They think you need to be a mathematical genius, predict the future, or have some secret formula. But let me tell you a story that'll change how you think about money forever. Picture this. It's 1972, and I'm sitting in a small office with Warren Buffett. We're looking at a candy company, See's Candies. Now, on paper, this doesn't look like much, but here's what we saw that others missed. Every Christmas, people in California would stand in line to buy these chocolates. They'd pay a premium price. They'd smile while doing it. That's what I call a moat, something so valuable that competitors can't touch it. We paid what seemed like a high price, 3 times book value. People thought we were crazy. But that single investment taught us more about business than a dozen mediocre companies ever could. See's generated cash year after year, which we used to buy more businesses. One good decision, compounding over decades. Now, here's where it gets interesting. Most people approach investing with one tool. They're like a man with only a hammer, and to him, everything looks like a nail. That's a recipe for disaster. I've spent my life collecting what I call mental models, ways of thinking borrowed from different disciplines. Psychology, physics, biology, mathematics, they all teach us something about how the world works. Let me give you an example that'll make this crystal clear. There's a concept in chemistry called autocatalysis, where a reaction speeds itself up. Well, guess what? That happens in business too. When you have a great brand, it attracts great employees. Great employees create better products. Better products strengthen the brand. It's a flywheel that just keeps spinning faster. Disney understood this. Coca-Cola understood this. These weren't lucky companies. They engineered their own luck by understanding fundamental principles. Here's something nobody wants to hear. The secret to investing isn't finding great opportunities, it's avoiding stupid mistakes. I learned this the hard way, and let me tell you, it cost me dearly before I figured it out. Early in my career, I'd see an opportunity that looked pretty good, maybe a 70% chance of working out. I'd convince myself it was worth the risk. But here's what I learned. In investing, you don't get paid for activity, you get paid for being right. And you can be right by simply not being wrong. Warren and I have a phrase, there are no called strikes in investing. You can stand at the plate and watch pitch after pitch go by, waiting for the perfect one. Nobody's going to call you out for not swinging. So why would you swing at a mediocre pitch when you can wait for a perfect one? I once passed on a technology investment in the 1990s. Everyone thought I was an old fool who didn't understand the new economy. That company went bankrupt 3 years later. Sometimes the best investment is the one you don't make. Now, let me tell you something that'll really bake your noodle. The biggest obstacle to investment success isn't what's happening in the market, it's what's happening in your head. Humans are wired for survival in the African savanna, not for making rational investing decisions. We have all these psychological tendencies that made sense when we were avoiding lions, but they destroy us in the market. Take envy, for instance. It's one of the dumbest sins because you can't even enjoy it. Yet I've watched brilliant people make terrible decisions because someone else was getting rich faster. During the dot-com bubble, value investors looked stupid for years, while any fool buying internet stocks looked like a genius. But who had the last laugh? Or consider the tendency to believe what you want to believe. I call this motivated reasoning. If you own a stock, suddenly every piece of news becomes confirmation that you're brilliant. You ignore the red flags. You rationalize the problems. This is how smart people lose money on obviously bad investments. Here's a crucial concept. Know what you know, and more importantly, know what you don't know. I call this your circle of competence. Think of it like this. Warren knows insurance inside and out. It's boring to most people, but he can spot opportunities and risks that others miss. Me, I understand retail, brands, human psychology. I don't fully understand complex derivatives or biotechnology, so I don't invest in them. Simple as that. The size of your circle doesn't matter as much as knowing where the boundaries are. You can have a small circle and do wonderfully, as long as you stay inside it. The problems start when you wander outside and don't even realize it. I once saw a brilliant software engineer invest his life savings in a restaurant chain. He knew nothing about the restaurant business. He assumed his intelligence would transfer. It didn't. He lost almost everything. Intelligence is not enough if you're operating outside your competence. Now, let me tell you about the most underrated virtue in investing: patience. Not the patience to hold through a market crash, though that's important too, but the patience to wait for the right opportunity. I've gone years without making a major investment. Years. People think I'm inactive or lazy, but I'm like a hunter waiting for the perfect shot. When the market panics, when everyone's selling quality businesses for ridiculous prices, that's when I strike. In 2008 and 2009, during the financial crisis, amazing companies traded at absurd prices. Why? Fear. Pure, irrational fear. While others were panicking, we were buying. Not because we were brave, but because we had the discipline to value businesses independently of market mood swings. Here's a principle that served me well. It's far better to buy a wonderful company at a fair price than a fair company at a wonderful price. This took me years to learn. Early on, I'd buy mediocre businesses just because they were cheap. What a mistake! A mediocre business stays mediocre no matter what you pay for it, but a great business keeps getting better. Now, I'm going to share something personal. I've made some colossal mistakes in my career, real head slappers, and you know what? They were my best teachers. There was a department store chain I invested in years ago. I saw the numbers, the cash flow, everything looked fine on paper, but I didn't truly understand how the retail world was changing. I didn't see that the competitive moat was evaporating. By the time I realized my error, I lost a significant sum. But here's the thing. I learned more from that failure than from dozens of successes. I learned to dig deeper, to really understand the durability of a business model, to think about what the world will look like in 10 or 20 years. The key is to learn from your mistakes without letting them paralyze you. Some people make a mistake and never try again. Others make the same mistake repeatedly because they don't reflect. The sweet spot is in the middle. Learn, adapt, and keep going. Now, let me wrap this up with the most important lesson of all. Investing is a long game. If you're trying to get rich quick, you're going to get poor quick instead. Think about compound interest. Einstein supposedly called it the eighth wonder of the world. If you can earn 10% annually and reinvest it, your money doubles every 7 years. That doesn't sound exciting in year 1 or year 2, but wait 30 years and it's extraordinary. The problem is we live in a world of instant gratification. People want results now. They trade stocks like they're playing video games. They check prices every hour. This is madness. It's like watching grass grow and expecting to see something exciting every time you look. Warren and I built our success over 50 years. 50 years, not 50 weeks or 50 months. We found great businesses, paid fair prices, and held on while the magic of compounding did its work. We didn't need to be the smartest guys in the room. We just needed to be patient and rational while others were being impatient and emotional. Now, before we wrap up, if you're finding value in these lessons, do me a favor, smash that like button. It helps more people discover these timeless principles. And drop a comment below telling me which Charlie Munger lesson resonated with you most. I read every single one. So, here's what I want you to take away from this. Investing isn't about having the highest IQ or the fastest computer. It's about temperament. It's about discipline. It's about being rational when everyone else is losing their minds. Build your circle of competence, understand your psychological biases, wait for the fat pitch, avoid stupidity more than you seek brilliance, and let time do the heavy lifting through the power of compounding interest. The beautiful thing about this approach? It works. It's worked for decades. It'll keep working because it's based on fundamental truths about business, human nature, and mathematics. These things don't change. Now go out there and invest like you've got a brain in your head. Be patient, be rational, and remember, getting rich slowly is still getting rich. Thanks for watching Wealth Wisdom. If you haven't subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? Click that subscribe button.